I've had him attack me before, like it's okay.
I can move it.
You let me borrow your thing, borrow my wire.
All right, you guys can come in if you okay. Are we ready?
1 o'clock, let's roll.
Okay.
Well,
Well,
we do need you to stand as close to the table.
Oh,
so
to your-
mics can pick you up.
there you go.
Thank you.
Is this on?
That is only for the speaker. We're not that interested in that. Maybe
You
guys
don't need
are.
me.
Okay.
Is our speaker,
Can you flip that to you or something like that so you're not like...
yeah, holding it? Right there.
Perfect.
Thank you.
How's that sound?
Great. Thanks so much.
Good sound for everybody?
Yes.
All right. Well, welcome to our press conference today from the Superior National Forest. We have a nice lineup of professionals to be able to talk to you about all the things going on up here. And first up is our topic of safety, and I'm going to hand it over here.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Justin Randall with the National Incident Management Organization. Just wanted to take this opportunity to first reinforce our number one priorities on this incident, which is public and firefighter safety. One thing that has been brought to my attention is it does sound like we had a drone inclusion on one of our fires yesterday. Unconfirmed, but what that means is we had a private drone come into our regulated airspace. So I just wanted to reinforce some of the regulations we have in place and the why behind that. So first and foremost, there is an FAA prohibited airspace over the Boundary Waters canoe area. That's in place all the time, and that regulates the utilization of aircraft at 4,000 feet and below, both fixed-wing helicopter and drone usage. In addition to that, given the wildland fire environment that we have put into place what's called a temporary flight restriction, which then regulates what aircraft can come and operate in that area as well. The reason behind that truly is we're trying to deconflict that airspace. There's a lot of hazards, additional hazards in that airspace as a result of these fires: smoke, visibility, communications, operations in tight with those aircraft. If we can't ensure their safety, then we can't get them in there to do the work that we really need done on the ground. So my ask is that we get that message out. Drones and firefighting aircraft do not mix. If we can't ensure deconfliction and that we have complete control of that airspace, we have no choice but to have our aircraft return the base back to the ground until we can do that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good afternoon. My name is Dan Paulson with the Minnesota Incident Management Team. I'm an Ops Section Chief on that team. Currently, on July 12th, our team took the fires over. We took over 10 fires in the Crane Lake to Orr area. Currently, firefighters are engaged using direct attack strategies. We've been pretty successful, I think, utilizing dozers, hand crews, engines. All but one are currently we have line around all of them, which doesn't really correlate to containment, but yeah. So the Chubb fire currently that we have is the biggest and uncontained fire, which is about 320 acres. With the fire. With the weather moderating the last couple days, we've been able to get back in there and start utilizing dozers and hand crews again. So we're feeling pretty confident with what we have going right now. There's still, this country poses a lot of challenges, as most of you that are from around here know, but the access is a huge challenge. The fire weather has been a big challenge for our firefighters, and so hopefully we can get some better weather and continue with the successes that we've gained the last 2 days. I think anything else, I think we do have a Minix website, Facebook site. If there's any updates, they do daily updates on that Facebook site. So I would encourage you to utilize that.
Thanks, Dan. Thanks, Dan. Nick Petrak from the Superior.
Good afternoon. Can everyone hear me okay?
If you pull closer to the mics, we can.
All right, got me?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, good afternoon. My name is Nick Petrak. I'm the Fire Staff Officer for the Superior and Chippewa National Forests. My coworker Dan gave you a briefing on the incident management team that has control over the fires near the Crane Lake Lower area. I'm going to focus our discussions more so on our Forest Service fires that are within the wilderness area, accompanying the Superior National Forest, along with some international efforts that we're working towards with our partners in Ontario. So, as Dan had mentioned, we've had extreme weather conditions, very warm temperatures, low humidity, rapid rates of spread, along with very tough access and egress for our firefighters. Our number one concern is public safety. As you are well aware, we did a public safety, a priority mission to force evacuations and some closures that is very imminent to the productivity of our fire status to get the public out. That is no easy feat. Traveling via canoe, we want to make sure our public safety does everything they can to ensure that our people are out of the way. Along with that, we talk about firefighter safety. Some of these areas, these fires are burning. The fuel loading is very heavy, very tough access. So in order for us to be successful, we have to prioritize the fires. Starting outside of what the Minix team has for fire suppression that is now under the command of the NEMO team, we have a fire, the Wolfpack fire grew into the Sioux fire, so we just call it the Sioux fire. We have the Bear Trap fire and the Thumb fire. Those are your three larger fires located just north of Ely up to the west. Two of those fires have crossed into Canada. So on a daily coordination calls, I work with our partners up there to discuss strategies, evacuations, and what we can do to help each other. We're doing the best we can. We're prioritizing the Sioux fire based on some infrastructure, but it's been a tough fight. So as the wind shifted and kind of changed to the north, that's why you're seeing all this smoke. If you would have been up here 3 days ago, you would have seen a lot of different type of smoke, a lot of columns. Heavily influenced by the fire behavior that we're seeing on our fires along with our partners to the north. As we progress east, we have a fire called the Camp Fire that triggered the Fernberg corridor closure. That fire has a lot of values at risk to threaten. They are actively working that fire with both aircraft and people on the ground to the best of their ability. As we transition further east, as of last night, we have a new fire that had started. It came from Ontario, and it's west of the Gunflint Trail. It is now known as the Little Knife Fire. Due to the conditions and the smoke, we have not been able to do a flight on that for recon. We estimate that fire to be about 28,000 acres, maybe 6,000 in the United States. We are doing the best we can to coordinate with our partners. I do want to highlight the effort that we put in as far as the U.S. Forest Service working with international partners, the state, the county, all the way down to the city. We need everybody we have to make operations like this work. It's not an easy feat to logistically feed people, keep the public safe, people informed. Things are very dynamic, so I appreciate patience as we try to get out the latest intel. Things change very rapidly. My number one priority fire at 4 o'clock p.m. may switch at 5 o'clock p.m. So we have to pivot and adjust with the public safety being the number one priority. With that, I do want to just emphasize fire is a natural part in the boreal forest. We haven't had fires like this for quite some time. So I know there's a lot of concerns about the closures and such. We are doing everything we can and monitor that daily and have daily discussions on what we can do. We sincerely realize the impacts it has to the community along with our firefighters. So we are doing the best we can. I highly feel like this is going on for a while. So I do ask for patience. If we do see some rain, that does not mean they're out. These are longer term events. As the weather does what it wants to, we have to be able to react with the situation with the public and firefighter safety as our number one priority. Thanks.
Can you spell your name?
Sure. Last name is Petrak, P-E-T-R-A-C-K. First name is Nick.
Thank you.
Thanks, man.
Okay, next up, Sheriff Stadler.
Good afternoon. My name's Nathan Stadler. I'm the Lake County Sheriff. I'm just here to talk mainly about our evac zones, the current evac zones in Lake County. The campfire is what's we're most worried about. That's what's causing our issues, as you heard from previous speakers, that it's ever going changing. It's been very smoky, and that's what prompted a lot of our evac of the Fernberg. We spent most of yesterday going, deputies and some help with the State Patrol, going door to door, making sure that everybody was out. Along with that, we had sent out an emergency alert, and I really urge everybody to sign up with Lake County and also St. Louis County and any county you live in with their emergency alerts. That's how we get our information out. So we make sure that get the best information to you. We're also putting our information on our website, and so that's the easiest spot, the way we get our information out and to make sure that everybody knows what we're doing. We continue to work with the Forest Service and the DNR monitoring these fires, and we will continue to look at what we're going to do with our evac zones. We do have a go zone, which is red on our maps on the Fernberg. It's just south of that on the White Iron Chain. We have what's called set, and right now we don't have any ready zones. We are looking at probably adding some of that just as a precaution to let people know that yes, everything's changing, it can move, and so keep your eyes on our emergency alerts, keep your eyes on our maps, and keep up on what's going on so that we can make sure that everybody gets out safe and make sure that all the firefighters can get in and do the job that they need to do. Thank you.
All right. Sheriff Ramsey?
Good afternoon, everybody. Gordon Ramsey, St. Louis County Sheriff. I want to just start out by saying everybody in this building that's working here is of the utmost concern is people's safety. And we are monitoring these fires very closely. As you've learned and can see, things have really grown. If you look out here, brown grass in Ely in the summer is pretty rare. The last thing we need is more fires. So if people would please be conscientious of what they're doing outside and do not create any more issues for our firefighters. Second, the evacuations. So these fires continue to grow at significant rates. With the current winds, we're concerned that they will continue to expand potentially into populated areas. We are meeting and looking at logistics and looking at the data to determine what the next few days will mean for people that live in northern St. Louis County. Monitor our page that has the maps for Ready, Set, Go, and we will do our best to keep everybody informed so that they are aware of what's happening. This is a very fluid situation. I think the next few days are important for people to pay attention. We are meeting regularly with our partners, with the Forest Service, the DNR, local fire, to make sure that we're up to date, and everybody's working together to pass the information along as quickly as possible. And I realize that's the number one thing that people want, and we are doing our very best. I want to thank our firefighters who are working very hard from throughout the northern part of the state to ensure everybody's safety. So the biggest message for me is watch our Ready, Set, Go mapping for those that are concerned. Those are updated immediately, and take those things seriously as we head into the next few days. Thank you.
Up next, Tom Hall, Forest Supervisor.
Tom Hall, Agency Administrator for the Superior National Forest. Thank you so much for being here. As others have said, this is a very dynamic fire situation. We are in unified command with the Minnesota DNR in close coordination, as the sheriffs have talked about, both with St. Louis, Lake, and Cook counties as the fires have progressed, and we have picked up new fires. There are new starts in Cook County. Initial attack, we know that we got weather over the last day. We do expect that fire environment is going to continue to progress. So the Superior National Forest has put in closures and evacuations for the Boundary Waters Canoe Area Wilderness. Those were put in place on Monday. We are evaluating that on a daily basis, 4 days out, to cancel permits. And as we're able to, really what we've already heard, this is a complex situation. As we're getting resources in, as the weather changes, as the fires potentially slow down, those are opportunities for us to potentially reduce those closures. But until that is in place, it is too unsafe for our firefighters and the public to be out there. So again, our number one priority is firefighter and public safety. The closures that are in place that we have coordinated with the counties, the Fernbrook Corridor is closed, the Echo Trail is closed. That is really due to those fires and their progression across that landscape. That will change as those fires change throughout the landscape. As Sheriff Ramsey said, really do appreciate the firefighting effort. We do have resources both locally and from the general area already engaged on these fires. We have national resources on order and coming to help support the fire suppression efforts. So really appreciate all of the great work that the firefighters are doing and that they will do. Thank you so much.
Philip, incident meteorologist.
Good afternoon, Phil, incident meteorologist. Work for the National Weather Service and serving the team here in the capacity of a common theme that you've heard every person stand up here and say, and that's the weather. Weather has been playing a huge role in everything that has gone on here. So how did we get here? We turned the spigot off about a month ago. It hasn't rained. If it has rained, it's rained very little. And the evening of July 6th, we had storms that come through that produced very little rain up in this part of the state and into Canada. And we had well over 1,000 lightning strikes within the forest, within the boundary waters, and up into Canada through Ontario. And if you were to look at a satellite picture, it is littered with fire right now. So the dry antecedent conditions leading up to the lightning event, followed by 3 days of hot, dry, windy. And that's exceptional. I mean, normal high temperatures here are in the upper 70s. Where have we been the last 3 days? Over 100 degrees in some cases. I saw some temperatures of 104 on some of the weather stations around here. Humidity in somewhere between 15 and 20%. So, all of those things fire loves. Hot, dry, and wind. So all of those little lightning strikes became bigger and bigger. And we're talking exponential growth. Some of these fires moved 6 to 7 miles in a day under those conditions. Now, what has changed? It's got cloudy, we get a little bit of moisture, a little bit of cloud cover. So what we're ending up with is a momentary pause, as I call it. Matter of fact, you listen to the weather forecast, we got some rain in the forecast the next day or two. That's beneficial, that's good, but I repeat, momentary pause. Because as soon as the sun comes back out, it's still summer. Temperatures are still going to go up. It's going to get just as dry. All of those things that fire likes. And it's going to move again. And even without the weather, something that I saw yesterday, these fires create their own weather. So even without the wind that drives fire, when you get enough fire on the landscape like we have in the backcountry and the backwaters area right now, it lives and breathes itself. And it will move on its own, and it will move quickly. I repeat, it can move 6 to 7 miles in about half a day's time. So that doesn't give you much time to react. So you see all of the emergency services, and they're knocking on your doors and they're trying to tell you what to do, this is when you need to listen and take action. So, how do we get here? We got the lightning. How are we going to end this? Weather's going to have to change. I tell my neighbors down in the southeast part of the country, it takes rain with a name to put out big fires. Odds are these fires will be here until it snows. So there will be some fire on the ground in some form or fashion, along with smoke, until it snows. For weather information, if you're looking for daily stuff, I encourage you to go to weather.gov/DLH. The Duluth Weather Service Office provides weather information up here. I also encourage you, because there's a lot of folks out there that are worried about smoke, how healthy is it, that kind of stuff. Go to airnow.gov, and all you got to do is plug in your location. And we have sensors all over that take air quality readings, and you can get that information, and it'll give you advice of what to do when the air quality is poor or unhealthy or hazardous. So I encourage you to do that. Thank you.
Phil, could you spell your last name, please?
Yes, last name is Manuel.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Phil. All right, so now we are ready to take a couple questions. Based on timing, we have about 10 minutes to take questions because these folks are leaders and they need to get back and help make sure that we get these fires managed, right? So, any questions?
When I was up here on Monday, they said that there's evacuating people from the boundary waters. Is everybody out that, to your knowledge, or is...
So we recognize that to get out of the boundary waters takes quite a bit of time. And so from Monday till now, we do know that people are still evacuating from the boundary waters. It is a much smaller number than what we first started with, but we are still working with that. I know that the sheriff's offices are getting notice when people potentially need help, and so we're working through that as well.
Do you feel you've reached all the campers, though, to notify them?
So we actually have staff that are out there sweeping the boundary waters with canoes and others. So our staff, teams of 2 in canoes, are out there sweeping each of the lakes, making sure that those notices are in place.
So you're still looking?
We are still looking to ensure that we've done our due diligence to make sure that they do get that notification.
Have you hit all the lakes?
Still in progress.
In progress?
Yeah.
Do you have any estimate of the number of people or percentage of people who you've gotten in contact with versus how many might still be out there?
I would say that we're probably in the 90 sort of percentile of people that we have reached. Obviously, I can't guarantee. I'll probably never say 100%, but we're getting further and further towards making sure that everybody knows the risk and the closure.
There were 17 air rescues reported on Monday, correct?
Yeah. So
have you had any more since then?
We have not had air rescues. We have been supporting other staff. Our staff has been supporting people exiting, and the sheriff's offices and the Minnesota DNR. So the State Patrol helicopter did come in and support those evacuations as the campfire was pushing on Tuesday as those evacuations trying to get off those lakes.
You mentioned that the Echo Trail is closed. Where does that closure start at?
So I believe that it goes from the 200 road in the west down to the north arm in the east.
Can I talk to some fire officials quick?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So you said that you have some federal help with
Correct.
you guys, right? How strained are the resources, though? Because out west, they're also dealing with a lot of wildfires.
Yeah, correct. So when we're speaking in terms of the national way we do business, nationally we're at a planning level 4. We have five planning levels, preparedness levels, and basically that's a way for our national system to prioritize resources. Currently, we have our own federal resources as far as the Forest Service and our Department of Interior firefighters within the state, and along with our state partners. Those are your local ones. We've done everything we can. We are importing firefighters, we're not exporting. So we have made it a priority within the state to keep as much as we can. As these fires grow in size, we have reached a higher level of a priority. In fact, our eastern area, northern Minnesota, is number 3 in the nation as we speak. So we're gaining a lot of attention due to the size of the fires and the potential impacts for the communities. So I wouldn't say it's super easy, but we constantly are communicating the needs up, and we've done a pretty good job filling the orders that we need to help manage these fires.
Do you have a number of how many firefighters are actively working right now, and how many do you think are actually on the ground?
Okay, so I would guess about, including the Minix team, I'm going to shoot for about 400 on the ground, and we have several support staff in leadership roles that do the map making, the logistics to feed our firefighters, etc. I would expect that number to increase once a new incident management team comes. Again, once we order resources, it takes time. From a federal side of it, they may be coming from Alaska, they may be coming from New York or Florida. So obviously there's a travel time frame to get up here in order to support us.
You talked about this being a long-term fight. How long are we talking about? Weeks, months?
Okay, so the question is a long-term fight. Absolutely correct. I can't predict the weather. Maybe the IMET can. I would say that we will be in this until fall. These fires are burning very deep, in some places upwards to 2 feet, maybe even 3 feet. So they're in the ground. Just as our meteorologists had mentioned, a little bit of rain will help us. It takes a lot of rain, a significant change in weather patterns, a decrease in daylight. Our burning period during this time of the year is very, very long, so all of our fields are very conducive to fire spread. I would expect this, I'm guessing we'll still be dealing with some stuff in September at this point.
You talked about the fire being in the ground for novices. Can you explain what that means?
Yeah, so you have ground fields like the duff layer where pine trees grow. So oftentimes when it gets really dry, the fire will come down and then kind of burn in the duff before it comes back and reaches the surface. So your needle litter, your grasses, that's what's carrying the fire for the most part. But it's very difficult to put out those fuels once it burns really deep. It takes a lot of people power in order to ensure that we have containment and control of a fire situation. And of course, when you introduce the winds and the lower humidities, fire gets up in the canopy through the ladder fuels and then likes to do a crown run, for example, or do some single tree torching. That's what's causing our spotting ahead of the fires, which will basically give us that 6 to 8 mile run that we can see on any given day.
Do you have any information on the number of structures that have been impacted by the fires at this point?
I don't right now. We're still under assessments.
Have any firefighters been injured?
We have not had any firefighters injured to my knowledge. That's something we take very seriously. Back to the public safety and firefighter safety. We do everything we can with training, and at this point I don't have any reports of our firefighters being injured.
Could we speak on evacuations really quickly?
Yeah, we can.
One of the sheriffs.
Yep.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
They're both sheriffs.
Right now, the primary evacuation site is the Babbitt Municipal Building. That was listed last night to close at around 9 or 9:30. Were people allowed to stay there throughout the night? And if not, where were they sent to?
So, as far as Lake County, we have not had any that requested sheltering. That was only a temporary evacuation point for people to come and get more information. We've had very little activity, actually, from what I've been told. So I think everybody has made their plan, or if they're not from the area, they packed up and left. So at this point, unless we need more, they will close it. But that's something that we continue to monitor, and as the need is there, we will make sure that we can support it.
Thank you.
You talked about evacuations as a safety feature, obviously, and wanting to keep firefighters safe as well as individuals, but there are some folks who are like, I've got my sprinkler set up, I've done my mitigation efforts to get brush back, that sort of stuff. I'm going to stay. At what point does that evacuation become, no, you got to go?
So,
I'm going to make you go.
As a property owner in the United States, I'm not going to make you go. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to strongly suggest that you need to go for these reasons. But if you choose to stay, once we've gone through there, there's no guarantee that we're going to come back and look for you again. So that's why we really urge for everybody's safety, not only of the people that may have to go back and look for you, but to just evac, and we'll get you back in as soon as we possibly can. That's always a priority of the sheriff's office, as well as to work with the partners and make sure as soon as we can, we'll get you back into your properties. So, does that answer your question?
Mm-hmm. Any other questions?
Do you think this has potential to be the worst wildfire season you guys have seen?
Let's let Nick talk to that one.
Welcome back, Nick.
All right, so the question was, do we think this will be the worst wildfire season we've ever seen? I've seen a lot of fire in my 25 years on this forest. Going back, if some of you remember some larger fires back in 2006, the Cavity, we had a historic Pagami Creek fire. We've had the Ham Lake fire, Greenwood, Jenkins Creek. So I've seen a lot of fire on this forest. That's a tough question to predict. I can tell you right now that this is probably the most and the largest number of fires that I've seen in July. Typically our fire season in Minnesota is a spring type season, but I want to emphasize that the boreal forest, the Superior National Forest in northeast Minnesota is a unique ecosystem. It's a fire dependent ecosystem. So this is a natural process. With the weather that we had and the number of lightning, we are used to a bunch of small starts, but not to this nature. So if I could predict the weather in a month, then I think I'd be able to answer that question a little bit more appropriately. But we are prepared for the long haul. And we prepare as an agency, along with our partners, to train to be able to take on fires like this throughout the whole season. So I can pretty much assure you that our fire staff's going to be very busy. And maybe come December, when I have the actual statistics, I can rate that against a year like 2011 or 2006 when we had historical fire information.
One question, some people argue that let's let it burn. This is a wide open area, it's good for the forest. Obviously, structures and safety are important, but when do you say, hey, let's just let this burn?
Okay, so we don't really say let's let this burn. We understand the fire dependent ecosystem. Number one, the Boundary Waters is the most heavily utilized wilderness in the United States in the lower 48 here. So we have a huge public safety concern. And with that, we understand the economic, social, and political impacts along with the recreational opportunities that this wilderness exhibits for us up in northeastern Minnesota. Every fire gets a strategic look. The problem is when you have this many fires, we cannot insert people safely into areas like that. We may use different strategies. Obviously, we're looking at natural boundaries to have less of an impact on the wilderness, but we look at every fire in a specific case. That's very important to understand. There's a team that comes in once a lightning strike happens. We analyze the weather. We analyze our public safety side of it, access and egress for our firefighters. We're looking at long term, and each fire is getting a unique approach on how we handle a situation. Values at risk are very important. So those are the approaches that we look to develop our strategies and tactics in order to extinguish a fire.
Is there anything the community can do to help out with you guys, whether it be making food or water bottles or?
So I will just say I want to thank the community. I want to thank you for your patience, and I want to thank each and every citizen, media. This is a very dynamic situation, and I know everybody's hungry for information. As it changes, we do our best to get this out. Back to what the sheriff said, we really appreciate when people evacuate. That puts a lot of stress on our firefighters, knowing that someone may not have left. That's not something we take very easily. We understand the choice, but cooperating with the agency and the local sheriff, we're giving you scientific information to the best of our knowledge. So at this point, I don't have any needs other than if I can get a rain event that I could name. That I would take, but at this point, I feel like we're fine.
Okay, one more question.
The airplanes, the aircraft, maybe just address how they'll be used today or tomorrow? Or?
Sure. So we have an abundance of aircraft, both rotors, helicopters, and fixed wing water scooping capability, along with aerial platforms that we use for intelligence. We utilize them as soon as we can. Realize that pilots have duty hours, so we try to do our best to ensure that we utilize our aircraft at the most strategic time. Looking outside right now, this is not good for, number one, air quality or breathing, but we are not able to fly safely. So the aircraft is a extremely important piece of how we're gaining intelligence, but oftentimes it's not uncommon for our aircraft to be grounded. We cannot, if they can't see, we won't fly. That's the pilot's discretion. We have, along with the state of Minnesota, our agencies have done a remarkable job moving the appropriate aircraft in. I feel very fortunate that they've moved them in on a national and a state level to ensure that they're meeting our needs. But it's going to take some time, and the aircraft doesn't necessarily put the fire out. It's the firefighters on the ground that have to do the follow-up.
Okay.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so we just want to reiterate, listen to your local authorities on all the information. We have an INCIWeb event on INCIWeb.gov, and all the links for anything that you need to know about the incidents are there. Evacuation information is direct authority with the counties, so go to your county website for that information. As noted, make sure that you're, as a public, make sure that you're signed up for your county notifications. Super important because, again, this is a very dynamic situation going on, and timing is of the essence, and we really appreciate your time. Be safe out there on your travels back to the cities or Duluth and whatever else. So thank you very much for your time, and we're potentially looking at having another one of these. When that's going to be, it could be Friday, it could be Saturday. We're not quite sure yet. Just depends on what the need is. But we really appreciate you coming up and being here. Thank you.
Thank you.